Now, we've been going on crazy about this, and I think this particular interview has been in the making for the past, like, maybe, I don't know how many months, but it's finally here, and I'm pleased to have Miss llke Platt.
Hey.
How you doing?
Mufaro, I'm great. How are you?
Like, I don't know. It feels weird. It feels like we're about to do a show.
I know, like a collaboration, right?
Yeah, as opposed to an interview. Because I was speaking to Adriano yesterday.
Yeah.
Then he's like, you know, you guys started like at the same time. I'm like, strange.
Yeah, come to think of it. Remember Rizzy years, even with the music industry?
Yes.
So people don't know that.
Yeah.
But now they know. So next year, I think, it'll be now the 17th year for me.
17 years?
17th, yep. From 15 years, well, when I was 15 years old, when we started dominating the industry.
Yes.
When there wasn't like a huge, radio kind of industry. You get. And look at us today. We are on the 3rd floor broadcasting live. And I'm proud of you, Mufaro.
No, but it's about you today. It's about you, not about me.
Okay.
It's not about me.
All right.
And you rightfully put it, 17 years you've been in this thing called entertainment. To some extent, I think you sort of grew up in it.
Yeah.
At the same time, you had audiences that also saw you grow up to the point that you are now a businesswoman.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I know is always so difficult, I'm not going to ask you, like, tell us who you are, but summarize yourself in a sentence. Like, who is llke Platt?
I think if it had to be one sentence, it would be a God-fearing woman just trying to find herself and, revolutionize. You don't want to stay stagnated. You want to be current. You want to still be on air even after 20 or 30 years and be relevant. That was more than a sentence.
You always got to squeeze in more.
Yeah.
Now, talking about these 17 years, they're obviously like now, because now as I'm thinking about cables, I'm thinking about you being an artist. What are some of your fondest memories of the entertainment industry?
I think I can say that I've done everything I've thought about doing, which is good.
Did you ever act?
Yes, I did. I even featured in a local film looking for Ilonga, and we were nominated, even internationally. I got the Best Supporting Actress nominee.
How did I miss that?
Wow.
Oh.
I don't know.
Okay.
But it's on YouTube now, after so many decades.
No, I'll check it out. What are your 3 fondest memories of the entertainment industry?
Number 1, being able to do radio, television, music, and drama at the same time. I think number 2, being able to transition from the entertainment into PR. And number 3, I think now transitioning from PR into running my own company.
Yeah, Poiyah Media.
Yeah.
Named after your 2 sons.
Oh, yeah.
Why that?
They're my life. The reason why we get out of bed, and you would also know as a father, the reason why you do something, it's because you've got dependence on you.
Yeah.
I've got a 7-year-old, I've got a 4-year-old. It was his birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. And then my day before his, my birthday
Come
before
on.
his.
Was this like planned? This is like pure family planning.
I know, right? Yep. Family planning.
Yeah.
And that's why we do what we do. It's not about me. It's not about llke Platt. It's not about, Poiyah Media.
Yeah.
It's about being able to, raise 2 sons so that they can become the best whoever they want to be in life.
Okay, when we get back, I want to talk about this entrepreneurial journey.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I've watched your videos from the time that you started the business.
Okay.
I remember you driving, saying, like, I'm officially now unemployed and I'm running my business. And honestly, you're going to take us through all that and more. So if you're just joining us right now, I've got llke Platt. Some of you know her or remember her as Cutie. I don't know, how does it make you feel when people still refer to you as Cutie?
People still say that. Like, I traveled to Joburg and a lady at the airport is like, excuse me, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Can I still call you Cutie? I'm like, if you know me as that, yeah, shoot, go ahead. It's a brand.
We're back on the other side of this. Keep it locked right here. How does it feel when people come to you and approach you and be like, hi, Miss Platt? Like, so formal.
I feel so old. you know, when like growing up, you would never call somebody by their first name. Like, with Africans, it's a sign of respect.
Yeah.
But now I feel like, don't call me Miss Platt. Like my interns at Poiyah Media, it's like, ma'am. I'm like,
but you are
do I look
the
that
CEO.
old? Yeah, I know, but it's really difficult. I'm like one of those laid-back CEOs, I'm one of those. I just want people to feel comfortable and enjoy their working environment.
Okay, so now let's talk about this journey because for those that don't know you, you started PR at NBC. And I recall you in your yellow car. I'm like, cutie. She's a PRO. She's supposed to be bowling, but what yellow car is this all about?
Hey, you know what? I drove that car until it was paid off. That was my eureka moment. And I drove it for 2-3 years without having car installments.
But like for mom, like no, cutie, like no, like
that felt
like,
good.
It felt good.
It felt really good.
Then you moved obviously to Sanlam.
Yeah.
And you were there for a bit. And then you moved to Old Neutral for like a couple of months. Next thing, wow, you're in business.
Yeah, I jumped boat.
Why? In a tough economy, like that's the time that the economy was like really starting to show signs of tanking.
That was Moody's mood swing. I jumped.
Like, but what caused that?
Entrepreneurship is difficult to explain if you're not part of the journey.
Yeah.
You can never say, even if I were to ask you now, Mufaro,
Yeah.
so when do you want to jump boat? You're not going to say, oh, next year, January the 15th, 2020 at 1:45. No. When you feel that the time is right, the time is right. Many discussions that I had with other entrepreneurs, things push them into entrepreneurship. It's more like you're going to the ocean, you're about to, get into the boat, but not just yet, because you're comfortable with your salary.
Yes.
You're comfortable with the working environment. You're comfortable with where you are and who you are. But it's something that just gives you that little push to say, you know what? Now you just got to swim. You got to dive. And that's what I did. I dove, I swam. I'm still swimming the Atlantic Ocean with a chain ball on my ankle.
Yo, is it that bad? Like, you like scaring me now. Like, no, why do this to myself? Like, seriously?
It's not scaring someone.
Yeah.
I think before I jump boat, it looked fancy. It's like, oh wow, I'm gonna get my logo. I'm gonna get my company name. That's like, the pretty stuff.
Yeah.
That's like the stuff that really gets you, excited about it.
Okay.
But if I would have done a lot more, discussion with people that are already in the entrepreneurial journey, I would have maybe thought twice. But maybe it's a good thing, because then you would have felt, am I really ready for it? And I will be honest with you, Mufaro, as much as, I still feel that this is the right, thing for me in my point in my life, there's so many things that you learn on the way. It's a journey. Okay. You can't explain it. But the moment you're in, let's say, this competition, you got to run the marathon. You got to go. And that's been it.
That's been it.
But it's rewarding.
It's rewarding.
Yeah.
Like when you think about it right now, what is that thing that you say to yourself, man, I'm never going back to work for this particular thing?
My freedom. I mentioned my 2 sons, Poiyah and Poiyah.
Yeah.
There's nothing more liberating than being able to be involved in their afternoon activities. Typical example, it's like you have to ask your boss, oh, boss, can I please, take off 3:30 on a Wednesday to watch Poiyah play soccer, And those are the priceless moments. I would love to see my sons grow up and be involved. At the rate that I was going, I had my 8 to 5, I had part-time, radio and television, I was doing my master's. I just felt really, really burnt out, like I missed out on my children's progress in life.
Yeah.
And I think that's also the reason that I said, you know what, let me own my destiny, let me own my space. Financially not rewarding yet, but you got to keep your eye on the prize. We're not going to the 3rd year next year, but within the 5th year, hopefully by God's grace, you know what, I will be at a place that I was when I was at corporate, and even better.
Okay, talking about that, there's a direction that you took. I don't know whether this was intentional, or this is something that you just decided to do, that you started hiring interns as the people that sort of drive your business. What brought that about? Because it's a weird model. It's a model that I think you've really perfected to some extent.
I'm proud to say that over 80% of my interns since 2 years ago have landed a niche job. Wow. And that's rewarding. The question is, when you do, pick out a job, we all have a purpose in life. I think I've been in that whole, background about how do you help others? And it needs to come from the heart. You need to be passionate about it. Yes. With the interns, they've been wonderful. They've been great. There's nothing more satisfying knowing that, they can graduate because of a recommendation letter, because they've done their practical, adding it up with the theory. Number 2, it also made business sense for me as a startup.
No, I feel you on that part.
I mean, I can't jump the boat and now I'm employing 3-4 people left, right, and center, and I still got bills to pay. Yeah. So I was actually smart about it to say, how can I empower interns so that they can graduate, get some, real life experience, and also work smart in terms of, how much expenses I have versus my income.
But what challenges does that bring? Because it cannot be easy working with somebody that is learning on the job and you need a job done.
Yeah, no, you're right. For the first couple of years, I think with any entrepreneur, even without interns, you are really hands-on as a CEO, as a founder. I think only within probably maybe next year, the year thereafter is when you can start allowing, other people to run the business.
Okay.
One of the founders of Simone said, don't allow the business to run you. You should run the business.
Okay.
Yes, I've been feeling that the business has been running me 24/7. It's like if I want to go on leave, I need to think twice about it to go on holiday. You know what I'm saying?
But who signs your leave?
Oh, gosh. My clients. If they pay on time, I can go to Norway by next week. But it's not that easy, you know? You got to be patient. I think emotional intelligence is the number one key thing that I've really learned, as an entrepreneur. When you're employed, you know what? It's somebody else's company, you know? You do your job, you have your checklist, but now you take ownership. Not saying that I didn't take ownership at Sanlam Old Mutual NBC, but you really need to be hands-on with the whole process.
Okay, so that's the tough part about it.
That's the most difficult, yeah.
Sure. Now, someone that I was speaking to asked me to ask you this particular question.
Yeah.
And they were saying, obviously you are a single mom, and your separation was quite public.
Oh, yeah.
And now the part which I was like, okay, this is interesting. If your car broke down, who's going to change the wheels for you?
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
Like right now, I can even change the toilet seat basin of my toilet by myself. You become a handy woman. You are forced to do that. It's a nice joke, but indirectly you are forced to learn things on the job. It was very difficult when I jumped boat. I then just also my marriage went down the drain. But you know what? God allows things to happen every single day. Even if I sit back now after 2 years having been divorced, I still try to question. So what was the meaning behind it? We might not know it after 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, but one day you'll realize, maybe now for the first time I can really stand on my own 2 feet and think, what do I want as an individual?
Yes.
You know, everybody's a caregiver. You give so much to everybody else except for yourself. And that's one thing that I've really not controlled or managed to do, but try to learn it, day by day. You have to be independent. Nobody's going to give you a handout in life. Even your own family members, be it your brother, be it your sister, be it your best friend. In this journey, everybody's as good as just making things happen for yourself and nobody else.
And something interesting about this couple, the Carter couple, is they've been through like a lot.
Oof.
And somehow they're still persevering. And like that's the thing that we're discussing. We're just like briefly discussing your marriage and what transpired and the way you say that you've had to become the person that stands for both roles. How is that?
Yeah.
How do you do it? Because you've got this business. That's another baby. Like you got 3 babies.
Oh yeah.
How do you manage that? Like when do you get time to just simply kick out? You're like, guys, need a break.
I think before we came on air, we had this discussion about, sometimes you just feel burnt out.
Yes.
Like when you say your son only comes, whenever he comes over, already it feels like a marathon.
Yeah.
I'm my kind of personality, I feed off of other people's energy. I'm not somebody that if I'm around people, I get more excited.
Okay.
Other people are the opposite. They get drained. They're like, no, I want me time. I don't want to, I'm not in the mood for you.
Yes.
But you know what? Let me give the father of my kids props. He's been very involved.
Okay.
As much as you say you are a single mother, he's been very involved. In the kid's life. And the most important thing is to co-parent, and that is something that I strive for, to be the best co-parent, so that our children can really have a fair childhood. Growing up. I always say parents that have their differences, the children should never feel it.
True.
So the first year, when I went through what I went through, oh my gosh, it was like a roller coaster ride, even for me and for him. But at the end of the day, forget about the media headlines. How do the two of you work together as
But how
parents?
did you deal with that? Because that was so public.
Whoa. I had, for that whole year, I laid low. I think many times people think that you run to the media and give all this information, but I think as a public figure, people take affidavits, which are used at court, and they publicize everything.
And they're public documents.
And that was very difficult because I think, for the past couple of years, I've been in control of my image. I've been in control of my persona. I've been in so much control of what goes out.
Yes.
And for the first time,
you have to cure yourself.
I had to cure myself.
Like, what do I do now? Like, the media release, inquiries. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, no. So apart from curing myself, sometimes you just gotta, be quiet. Yeah. There will be another media headline tomorrow.
Yeah. Like, you know what? No comment. llke says no comment. Guys, no comment.
Yeah. I can laugh about it today, but 2 years ago, it was crazy. And look, the stuff is still on social media. It's like when you go back, I'm reading another person's life. It doesn't feel like it was me.
I think I sort of understand where you're coming from. Now, there is something that I think when I think about it, I don't know how it's gonna make you feel, but I just wanna find out. Obviously, both your parents passed on.
Yeah.
And you're very close to them.
Oh yeah.
Like, how has that been? Like, raising two sons and not being able to say, like, go to your grandparents. I can't deal with your two anymore.
Yeah. It was my birthday on Thursday.
Yeah.
I wrote a post on my status and I said, for the past couple of years, I've never had big birthday parties. As much as I'm out there in public, I'm a very, private person, and I like to keep it that way. Whatever I can keep private, I will keep private. It's always just been me, my mom, my dad, and my brother. And it was very difficult for me on Thursday because my kids are with their dad, for the holiday.
Yes.
And for the first time, I just felt alone,
Yeah.
And again, when I told you about finally being by yourself and having that me time to understand, who are you? What do you want? What is life about? Yeah. It was very difficult. It's very difficult that, I don't have a mom and dad to call up and say, hey, Dad, what can I do now? Yeah. I think, when everything was so public 2 years ago, it would have just helped me just going to my mom and my dad's house, which I didn't have. Yeah. Friends are few, you know what I'm saying?
True.
I have a lot of acquaintances. A lot of people know me. I know a lot of people, but I don't have a lot of friends. That's just the way that I've always been. Very tight-knitted family, me, my brother, and my parents. But I am grateful. I mean, there's still a grandmother that's there from their dad's side. Yes. And I'm also grateful that, they have one grandparent alive to still, feel, love from their grandparent.
And you got someone that you call your aunt?
Yeah, Auntie Joey. She's my saving grace. She's our living nanny.
Yes.
I couldn't have done half of this stuff without her. She's 56 years old, and during such a long period of going through what I went through, Auntie Joey actually became like the second mom to my sons. And you need that help. And as single women, I always say, put mechanisms together to make a life easier for you. Yes. You cannot help your kids if you're drained. You cannot be the best mom if you feel like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to pay the bills next month. Yes. You need to put things in place to make life easier for you. Many times people say, oh, I admire you. You're so courageous. But I don't feel that way because nobody knows half of the stuff that you go through in order just to make it, through another day.
Talking about that, what keeps you up at night when it comes to your business?
Paying rent.
Are you serious? That's the only thing.
Just paying bills. You know what I'm saying? And it's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
Our business model is, assisting SMEs, which is great. I love the impact that we make, in local businesses. Yes. But there are also a lot of disadvantages. Now you got to wait for that person to get money from who and blah, blah, blah.
And they got stories to tell.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, I'm planning I got bills to pay too. My landlord is not going to find it funny by asking, okay, so when is your client going to pay you? Yes. But on a real, I think that's the main thing that keeps me up at night. Mm-hmm. Number two, with my business, even for 2020, I had an article, in the press this week. Yes. And just to have the year under review, to do things in a smart way next year. So many times you're everywhere. You spread yourself so thin that you even ask yourself, do you still enjoy doing what you're doing?
Interesting.
But at the end of the day, when I look at my, son's eyes, they make it worth the while. But 2020, I think 2020 is going to be my year. Poiyah Media's year next year.
Interesting. Before we take a break.
Yeah.
You took a direction of assisting the Mshasho brand in terms of doing the fame. This has become famous. Every year they've got this major show.
Yeah.
Why that? I mean, entertainment has always been that can easily tarnish your image as a business as you're coming in. Why
right.
that?
Entertainment has always been in my blood. I think I've only just transformed from me being in the entertainment industry and assisting those that are currently in the industry itself. I wanted to blend the entertainment to the corporate. So how do we transform an Mshasho brand to have, I'm not going to mention the company's names on air, but having big corporates to actually endorse that brand. And for next year, there's so many other corporates that will endorse, and I call them business personality because that's what they are.
Yes.
I don't like calling them artists because they're so much greater than just singing on, the stage and dancing on the stage.
Yes.
They're the real entrepreneurs. And I really wanted to assist by bridging that gap between the entertainment industry and corporate because that's where I come from. And you need to brand position your proposal so that it can be beneficial for the business personality plus the corporate itself.
It's so interesting because whenever I check out your status updates, you're usually with your children. And one of them is my favorite.
Oya!
I love his hairstyle. Like, you must see Oya. It's like if there's anything like his hair, he looks like the funky one, the one that's you know what, let's just go enjoy ourselves.
I know, right?
Why y'all stressing? Let's have fun. Put my feet up on the table and be like, Mommy, pass me the remote.
It's like, Mommy's got to sort it out. He has no idea what Mommy's been through the whole day.
Yeah. Like, Mom, I'm hungry. Mom, I need to go to the toilet. Like, that looks like him. But now, looking at them and it's like it's been a big thing, especially men this, men that. Men are trash. Men are not doing this right. Men are what? How and what are you doing to raise these two boys to become responsible men in this society that we live, which is looking down upon men and probably also look down upon men and call us trash?
Well, you know what? I don't actually look at men and call them trash. I think it's always the actions and vice versa. When we speak about divorce as well, it's also the other way around. I have a close friend, who's a male, and he's going through so much that his wife is putting him through. Not giving access to his kids. We never speak about those stories because then men become more vulnerable. So I always see things in a very objective manner. Be it even if I've been through personal things, it's not the person themselves, but it's the action coming from that person. For my two sons, God-fearing men.
Yes.
You can do as much, Mufaro. I can, show them the world. I can drive in the fanciest car, give them, the biggest mansion when my, company does go up. But it's about being content. It's about teaching our men that in society, you do not have to impress everybody else except for yourself. And I think nowadays, especially with social media and so much going on, men just have this extra pressure to, just impress with so many materialistic things.
But is it... It's actually good that you're raising this, and it's a question that I asked a friend of mine that if you go out on a date, would you pay the bill?
Me, yes. You know what? I'm actually the opposite. I'm like so independent. I always come with my bag, and I'm like, I've got my couple of hundreds in my bag just in case. I'm that kind of person. My parents taught me and brought me up by saying, you know what? Never accept things for free because you never know people's intentions. Be it a candy bar, be it whatever, how small it may be, even monetary terms. You gotta hustle and work for yourself and get things through your own sweat because people are crazy. People, you read things in the newspaper and people just go buck wild because you've invested so much in who and who and who. So coming back to my point with my sons, it's really important for them to understand that Mom is really trying. Yes. There will be some days that I can take them to Spur and there will be some days that I can't. And they should just understand that this is their mom trying to give them the best that she can in this time frame that we are in at the moment. Yes. They need, and every time, even if there is, maybe cash coming through oddly, they know it's by God's grace. They already know that through God's grace, we are able to have what we have. So faith, number one. I can only pray whenever they go, to their dads or whenever they're somewhere where I am not, that they're always protected. There's only as much as you can be in control over and let go and let God.
When you look at them and you look at today's society, do you feel there's something wrong that's happening in today's society?
Oh, yeah.
What is that thing that if you could correct, that you'd correct?
it's just the pressure. You know, at Mufaro, you and I started out without social media. You and I started out without cell phones in the industry. You know what I'm saying? And I think things were more genuine. Mm-hmm. It's like you would progress in your own time, at your own pace, and you would not be going on social media and constantly reminded about who was doing what and who was going where and who was accomplishing what. It's so much more pressurizing, and I'm looking at my sons, and I'm just, thinking that if they are not brought up in a solid foundation with being okay with what you have now, yes, it becomes very difficult, for kids. Not even just social media, but I think it's just, people in general. You try to take them to the best schools. Yes. You try to, give them everything. But as human beings living in this day and age, I think it's all about getting more, doing more, being seen as doing more than, what is expected. And I think that's unnecessary. You should be able to say, you know what, I ain't got it now, but I'm working towards where I want to see Poiyah Media in the next 5 years. Just an example.
Now, talking about that, and obviously got to close it from looking at the time.
Oh, yeah. My gosh. It's already been an hour. Oh. Wow.
There are those people that have stood by you. You spoke about acquaintances, and it's so weird that I actually think and believe that friends, that's something that is so, there are very few.
Yeah.
Who are those people that you want to thank and just simply say, you know what, without you, I wouldn't be here? Because we never get that opportunity. We're always talking about the future.
Yeah.
But there are those that have gotten you to where you at.
Even if it's thanking my belated parents, I mean, they're still watching us from heaven, I can still say, at Hilda, aka Zanao, oh my gosh, she's been like with me from day one.
Shambuka
Yes. She had her, nammusic.com, website. Yes. And she's always been like the realest, from when we met to when we separated. When you get married, life changes. They accept the new you, and then when things go wrong, they're still there, and vice versa. She's actually been my day one friend in the making. On my birthday, she called me up and said, and she knows exactly who my mom and dad were. There are many people that have never met my parents, and they don't know who I really am. Show me where you were brought up, show me the fundamentals, your foundation, and then I can really say, this is who Mufaro is. In this day and age, people try to portray something that they're not, and you don't actually know who's the real person that you're speaking to.
Yes,
yeah.
That's true.
So I think with her, I need to give her props, and I'm recording this video, so I'm going to send it to her.
So she knows that, I gave you.
Yeah, no, you got to recognize. Yeah. And my sons. They're my down for life. Yeah. They're with me until I die. Oh my gosh, through thick and thin. They're my soldiers. And that give me, the courage to get up every single day.
20 years, Poiyah? What do we see?
I don't always say, at 20 years it's gonna be Poiyah. Maybe I'll be doing something different. You know what?
Okay.
There's always a phase in time. If you would ask me 10 years ago, okay, or 17 years ago, so you still gonna be on UNM radio? I would have probably said yeah, because you never know what's gonna happen. Maybe I'm destined for something else, but I haven't found it yet. Maybe I'll be doing something completely different and I don't know about it. But in terms of the next 5-year strategy, yes, bigger, better, more sustainable. Next 20 years as an individual, I just want to be, I think I want to be content and happy with my new surroundings, the new environment, wherever that may be in the next 20 years.
I wish you the best, and I hope I'm still around to see all these things take place.
You will be.
You heard it right there. From my side, catch me next week. This has been like a really beautiful interview. I guess it needed to take time for us to get here.
It's a long time coming.
Yeah.
It's a long time coming, but it happened.
Cool.
Thank you, Mufaro.
Welcome, Kitty.